What's going on, guys? Luminostic. I just decided to do a change of subject at the last minute because I just kind of got this news about the whistleblowers saying that Fox supports the Church of Satan, which let's just get this right out of the way right off the bat. I suspect very, very strongly that the actual motivation for doing this is that, the media is all owned by the Uniparty. And there is a method to their madness. They are consolidating the political parties by demonizing the left. And I'm not saying the left isn't doing some crazy stuff, but, these demographics on both sides are provoked to do these things by the propaganda machine. The narratives are engineered for them. You know what I mean? What you have to realize is that there aren't a lot of free-thinking people left in the United States. And so when you see people doing things, you can rest assured that they're being led by someone. They're not doing it on their own cognizance. People don't really do that for the most part. And so the ultimate goal is to consolidate the people in one party. But another element of that is important to part of the crossing of T's and dotting of I's, they also have to make everyone distrust all media, so that once whoever the leader of this totalitarian technocracy is going to be, that is the only person that is trusted. This is exactly the same scenario that we saw happen in Nazi Germany, down to the fact that the enemy, who right now is the left, are coming for your children. They said that about the Jews, the Nazis. I mean, all the rhetoric is the same, the techniques are the same, and the objective is the same. They're going to consolidate the parties in the United States into one, and it's going to be the right because they're, typically more inclined or disposed to fascism. Although I have to admit the left has been acting like they're maybe more prone, but there's other aspects of a lot of, extreme right-wing psychology that can be exploited. And so they will consolidate under the right, and they have to make them distrust all media because there's going to be a single authority. And so just as I suspected the shenanigans with the Sound of Freedom movie, you can tell from the title that it's propaganda. And, when I looked into it, it's super, super ridiculously obvious. Sex trafficking is real. It's a huge problem. Of course, I'm not saying anything against any of that. And of course, it's good to get that message out there, but that's not the objective of this movie. The guy, Tim Ballard, is, the exposing kids to trafficking, going out and paying their parents and rounding them up and exposing them to violent police raids and then kicking them back out on the street where they get trafficked again. It's a total scam. It's a complete fraud. And this is an extension of that. Fox News whistleblowers saying that Fox is supporting the Church of Satan because the idea is that they're going to reinforce the perception that Satan is taking over the world, that the left is absolutely pure evil, they're all pedophiles. And if you don't believe it, look around TikTok. You see people posting videos that have captions that say these Democrats are all groomers, and it'll just be some random pedo on the Chris Hansen show getting set up. But there's just, there's no indication of their political leanings, but that's just what the caption says. So, that is the objective. We're not just dividing the people. They're actually deliberately trying to create violent hatred between the two parties. And then what happens is, because people are pretty cowardly creatures, once the left is afraid enough, they will stop being left, and they will go and they will be consolidated in the right. and then the right-wingers will be, because that will be the only party, there will be no more right and left, there'll just be the Uniparty, and then they will be led to do whatever it is that the overlords have planned. That's how it works. That's what's happening. And this whistleblower exposing the satanic, I mean, I don't think they're trying to say their beliefs, but just, Fox News is also in on the Satanic Conspiracy. Now you can't trust anyone. And of course, it's always been true that you can't trust any of the media. But they always have people thinking that one side or the other has more honest media. Like our media is telling the truth and theirs is obviously lying. When, Fox News and CNN have both been caught using CGI to drive their narratives. So, once you're a puppet, you're just a puppet. And it's really sad for me to watch all this, because it's just so much human potential that is squandered and lost because of the susceptibility to misdirection and misinformation. And I just kind of wonder if people are going to figure it out, if they're just too far gone to come around and realize that anyone that's on the grand stage of politics is completely under control. The idea that Trump was some rogue person that was going to go up against the deep state and take them all out, it was all staged. It was all, he's an actor. He's literally got training as an actor. He was literally a television star. There's a reason why he's not the first actor that's been president in the United States. Like, it's getting so over the top, ridiculously obvious that it's really kind of horrifying that people are still almost willfully falling for these deceptions and ruses and just playing right along with the puppet masters. I almost am at a loss for words, because there was a time not too long ago where I really thought that we were coming together, that we were going to all collectively realize the methods and the actors and cut the cables and overturn the tables. And that may have been fables, because people aren't able. Trying to make the message relatable. But yeah, it's generation after generation after generation of indoctrination has really, really made it difficult to communicate with people on the level that is necessary, and I see people holding all the cognitive dissonance quite often, where I can tell that they know that that there basically is a small handful of people that are controlling all the media and controlling all. I mean, I don't know who doesn't know that at this point. Who doesn't know that? But yet we still have these huge, huge factions of people that are pretending that they don't know that. Why are they pretending to be tricked, And I know that fear is a hell of a motivator. Somebody in our Patreon, by the way, you guys, make sure you hit the like button. Join our Patreon. The other subject I was going to do tonight was censorship, because I did a little bit of research last night, and I actually compared my analytics and topics and hashtags to much younger channels that were talking about very similar content. And I noticed that they might have 1 million views on videos that I've made 4 years ago. And it's, not because they have more likes, because I have sometimes 5 times as high of a like to view ratio. I get literally 100 times as many subscribers per view as some of these bigger channels. So I have checked all the algorithmic boxes, and I'm probably going to make a video where I'll prove the shadow ban. But it's really making me feel like maybe I can't continue to do this, because I'm really sick of, making these videos and getting 100 views over 4 years, and then I see Aubrey Marcus or Morgue or any one of all these other channels make that video 3 years later, and they get 350,000 views in a few days, and it's like I don't think I can beat the algorithm. Is the point that I'm making. And I mean, I guess I made the mistake of saying what I'm saying in this video, and that's one of the reasons I continue to do it. A lot of those other channels, they kind of tell people, facts about Hermeticism and maybe even psychedelics and stuff, but they're not really telling people to question everything, to question their political beliefs, to get rid of their religion. I think that's why my content gets buried. I don't see any other reason for it. It's not obscene. I don't promote hate. I don't, there's no other explanation that I can see. But the reality is that in 5 years, I'm still getting buried, and I just don't see how I can ever overcome that. So I think what I'm going to do is continue the YouTube channel until I go to Egypt. And then if I post that video after I get back from Egypt, and I have not gotten my revenue from this channel up to $2,500 a month within 90 days after that, I'm just going to stop doing it because it's just too much stress. A zoomed out view? What do you mean? I can see my view and it's pretty normal. You mean my camera or my brain? I don't know what you mean. Yeah. That's the long and short of it. I mean, it's actually starting to be a little bit of a drag on my mental health, I think. Just trying to, maybe failing to have the level of detachment that I need or something. And it's also frustrating because I feel like the message that I'm putting out there for people that, you have to absolutely question everything. You have to be absolutely objective. You have to be totally courageous. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's saying lands and kingdom plans have stages 20 to 30 years. Yeah, I mean, that's... there's so much evidence that there is a malicious intent with the overlords, that something is not right. It blows my mind that so many people still are convinced that conspiracy theorists are all idiots, although a lot of conspiracy theorists are idiots. And another reason I'm probably shadow banned is because I've gone after flat Earth. I actually did a debate with some flat earthers, and they had a Navy SEAL mercenary. The guy was actually a killer, like for real. And when I started really embarrassing them, they had cameras rolling and stuff. It was supposed to go on YouTube, but they, of course, controlled all the video. I didn't have anyone make a video for some reason. I can't believe I did that. It's weird. I should have had somebody on my side video. Yeah, it's really wild. But when I started beating the hell out of them, and it was just, I mean, the guy started saying things like the sun is electric. You can tell by looking at it and stuff. I mean, you can't look at the sun anyways. Or I mean, it was crazy. But when I started really embarrassing them, the Navy SEAL came over and started leaning over the table and threatening me. And I didn't realize what he was doing at first. I was just kind of trying to ignore him, and then I picked up on it. But as I was leaving, I stopped to talk to an elderly supporter, and she said, yeah, he came over to her and said, don't you have cancer? I should just kill you now, just because she was there to support me, right? So praise Jesus, right? Those guys are definitely, it's a religious movement. It's a religious movement. But the point is that, I've suspected that flat Earth could be a psyop because they're just trying to make people that think outside of the box look completely fucking unhinged and stupid. And there's, a bunch of them. Space is fake. I heard Dakota of Earth actually posted a video where he was saying that space was fake a little while back. And he, of course, became Christian a few years ago. Look what it does. I almost feel like I might start watching Fox News since they apparently are giving money to the Satanic Church. And by the way, if you don't know anything, we have 6 views and 6 likes. We can't get a third 6 concurrent viewers, 6 likes. Oh, there are 3 6s on my screen though. Sweet. The fuck am I talking about? Yeah, it's not a satanic church at all. They're just like, they're the same reason that when I was a kid, I used to draw pentagrams on my notebooks and stuff, I just was so over the Christians. And even as a small child, I could tell that they had obstructed the evolution of mankind. They had broken the evolutionary paradigm. They had knocked the trajectory of the evolution of society and culture off track. And, I think people underestimate the harm that did, aside from setting science back 200 years, which is the estimate that they give. It created so much resistance, and the sandbags on hot air balloons. It's something like that. Religious dogma is like lead weight on an air balloon that's trying to lift off. And I've always felt that it was one of the greatest possible blasphemies to intentionally engineer religious systems, the purpose of which is to curtail spiritual development and to actually occult real spiritual knowledge. If you guys haven't seen my Light of Lucifer, the mystical secrets of Luciferianism, that I drew the video from, it's absolutely the best live stream I've ever done. The camera quality is pretty bad, and the audio is kind of glitchy, but if I had to choose one piece of content to represent my life work, it would definitely be that one. So, and thanks to, I think it was Jonah, or was it Fish? One of you guys suggested that I cut part of it for a stand-up routine. So I looked back to see what he was talking about, and I watched a bunch of the video and realized that I was really on fire that night, and I'm actually going to chop it up and make other content out of it. But yeah, the demonization of consciousness has just hurt humanity so many different ways, and it really is people that knew that if people are spiritually empowered, if they're illuminated, if they know the secret meanings of the symbols and they're in harmony with the natural cycles, then they're very powerful. And we all know the story. I mean, there's really no point in going into the nitty-gritty details of how the pagans were hijacked. And a lot of people don't realize, though, that the Hermetic sciences, which probably are the most powerful system in the history of systems, alchemy, it's starting to look like, was actually real, for one thing. But Hermes actually was generally depicted with horns. He was found at the crossroads. He was a god of music and magic. All of the things that were demonized and associated with the devil and Satan by the Christians, even though there's no indication of any of this stuff in the Bible, that the devil and Lucifer only occur 2 times each, I think, in the Bible, maybe by mention, but Satan is only in Ezekiel, I think, mentioned, and then in Job when God makes him go and torture Job and kill his whole family and all that stuff. It always blows my mind, too, the defense that people will offer for this God doing this. When I say that, you guys are always talking about how these evil Satanists are sacrificing innocents, and then you literally worship a God that did that and nailed his own son to a cross, made blood sacrifice of an innocent. It's literally the dumbest thing in human history when they defend that. And one of the guys today said something like, God didn't do that. We did that to him. But, this is supposedly their God's creation, and he made the rules and the plot, and it's somehow his formula that the blood of an innocent has to be shed in order to, he created us with these flaws so that he could send himself to us to murder himself so that he could protect us from himself. Like, this is their logic, and it's somehow not the God's fault. It's our fault, because we're not perfect, because it didn't make us perfect. So we killed Jesus. Like, I mean, I don't know how it's possible to carry something that completely irrational, illogical, and just downright stupid around as your fundamental operating system, your basic core belief system. I do not understand how that's possible. It's tragic, and it explains a lot of the other issues in the world, because if your fundamental belief system requires you to abandon cognition, basic cognition, and basic logic, and basic common sense, and reason, and even morality, that's going to affect how you perceive and operate in your entire, every little aspect of how you function is going to be influenced and impaired by that fundamental belief. So, I guess it does explain a lot about why the world looks like it does, and how we see people acting and operating. So I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow, but soon enough, somebody asked me to do a stream on critical thinking and how to navigate the murky waters of metaphysics and spirituality without integrating false beliefs or, just getting lost in the sticky swamp. So I'm going to do that for him soon. So if you're not a patron, please become a patron. I had intended to do this hours ago, and we just had technical difficulties. And I noticed some people had been hanging out for a while. I didn't want to leave them hanging, so I popped on to talk about Fox News supporting Satan, because that's just part of me, having grown up watching these right-wing conservatives that I just absolutely hated with every part of my being, and their Christian conservatism and all this crap that they were always spewing. Because, people talk about the left infringing upon our rights these days, and that's kind of true. I mean, with the free speech, and way back in high school when political correctness started, I actually was saying this is not actually good. People think it's good, but it's a Trojan horse. In high school, 1995 or something, I was like, this is a Trojan horse. This is the beginning of controlling our speech. I knew way back then that it was headed somewhere bad, that, it's not good. That it was basically a tool. That's what I used to say to my friends. It's a tool to separate people, to keep people from being honest and open. It puts walls between people. And it's all predicated upon kindness, but it actually is not kindness. It's just distancing. It's being polite is actually, in my opinion, politesse is evil almost. What we need in society is openness and sincerity. If people have wrong opinions and wrong ideas, we need to know about it so that we can have conversations about it. If people are planning crazy shit and thinking extremist thoughts rather than censoring them online, wouldn't you rather know where they are and what they're thinking and who they are, rather than just having the government hide it all so that, they know, I guess, and maybe that's the only person that needs to know, but it's not even true, really, because in a lot of cases, they deleted my Facebook entirely. So, yeah, the internet censorship is supposed to be for our protection, but in reality, it just hides where the problems are and who the problems are, and that doesn't help anything. So, what I was saying is that, back in the day when I was a teenager, our freedoms were restricted mostly by laws created by conservative politicians. And so to see Fox get caught supporting the Church of Satan, it almost makes me like them. I'm almost proud of them, but except for the fact that I know it's just a propaganda stunt. It's just being done to reinforce the perception that there is a satanic conspiracy run by Democrat elites that are all pedophiles, and basically it's going to frighten the left into all joining the right, and then there's your single party. So, I mean, I don't know what we can do about it at this point. I'm still trying. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to, do what I can. Our retreats are still going. People want to come down and try to undo some programming. But I don't know if the brakes will work at this speed, So, at any rate, it's 1:18 in the morning, and I'm pretty tired. So, thank you guys for spending this time with me. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe, support us on Patreon, where you can join our secret streams. You can send one-time contributions to the addresses in the chat. And don't fall for the propaganda. Don't do it. We need unity. We really do. It's not impossible that we could still triumph. In fact, the reason that they're creating all of the pressure and the propaganda is because we could triumph. So don't forget that. And good night.